All right, I'll just quickly go over the code. So when you start up, actually, I'll start by starting Unity. And yeah, here's another thing. Download Visual Studio. It's free, and because you're gonna need this, and it makes it really nice with the IntelliSense. It'll kind of tell you what things are and how they work. But anyway, so we're gonna open up Animal AI. If it's so, I did the shortcut, but what you'll do is you'll hit Open and then you'll find the folder, and inside that you'll see this, and then just select folder. So you'll want to see this, and then hit select folder, and then it'll open up correctly. So now we're in here. This is your main view. So this is your scene view. You can push the middle mouse wheel and scroll in to move around. You can double click on things to move there. Now I put the scene under scenes, and it's going to be called Deer AI. Just double click on that to open it. So in order to get to the deer quickly, I just double click and it'll float me over there. All of the, what happens is you have a container, and inside the container it can have multiple objects in it. So I put the code, all the code and all the functionality on the main container so it's easy to find. You don't have to go looking for anything. A collider is an area that if it comes in contact with another collider and has a rigid body, it can't go through that object. The animator, so if you click on these two, it'll take you to them in the folder directory. So everything's kind of stored separately in folders. So the animation here is the animator control, which is this. This holds an animation, and I'll show you how to get to that. So if we go to Windows, Animator, this is the condition that you can set him to be in: eating, running, or walking. And this is already set up. And the way that I've set it up, and I'm going to put this over here, so it's a little bit easier. And actually, I'm going to bring this down here because I would like, let me see. Yes, I would like it like, actually, I'd like it like this. So, let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Under parameters, what I did is set up a condition. So if he's in the state of 1, which is here, so if the condition equals 4, then he's dead. If this condition equals 3, then he's running. And if this condition equals 1, he's walking. And you'll kind of see that in the code. And the way I call that is I set this condition called character animation set integer condition 3. And so it's saying, what's the variable name? Oh, it's condition, and you want to set it to 3. Well, in that case, if it was set to 3, then he would be running. So he's in a running state when that condition's set to 3. That'll force him to run. All this stuff we can talk about too later. So anyways, that's that. If I go back to the inspector and choose the deer again, I'm going to just bring this up. So that's the animator. Roaming is the actual code that I put on here, and we put a root object so that way if we move this code anywhere, we really, we're associating it with a particular object, so it makes it easy and portable. The deer settings are the patrol range. This is, if you play with this setting, you can see this red. The patrol area is how far he'll look and walk to. So if it's a short patrol, he'll walk in a short distance. If it's really big, then he's going to walk in a large distance. And that's a possibility because I check every point within this circle. So if it's out here, he might only walk to here, but he could potentially walk out to here. So it's more of an inside the circle point that I'm getting. You can also do outside the circle, which would be more precise if you wanted him outside of this area, Destination point offset is to make rounded kind of turns. As you're getting to a destination, you tell him to go somewhere else, and it kind of makes him look like he's naturally turning. Distance to scare. This is this blue area. If the player is within this blue area, then he will then be scared. The distance to run, which I don't show in here, is the scare run distance, which is how far he's looking to get a point, which we could put up to 10. The current deer location, so if I play this, we'll see that this is his current location. Now we're in game mode, so I can't move around at all. And that's typically what I do is I open up the scene. And what I do is I separate it. That way I can see what the camera's seeing, but then I can also navigate around. And so this current position is the deer's destination point where we randomly chose for him to go to. And that happens in this code. So it says search random point. And this random point says, hey, look for a point. Make sure that it actually exists, that that it's somewhere that you can go to, and if it's not, check 100. You get up to 100 times to fail to finding a point. Once you find that point, then it's really easy to tell them to go there. You just do navigation mesh dot destination. So you're just telling them where to go using this. So all that's happening right here. Hey, go to this point. Once he gets about close to getting there, about 0.5, then we go in and we find another destination point. But actually, once he does reach it, under our fixed update, it says, well, once we get to the point that we want to get to, then let's do a random act. So this random act is, I do Control F to find things easy. And you can see it highlights here. So random act is, as long as we're not running away, let's figure out what we want to do. We've got now I made this 100% that he's going to walk because I was having some issues, but I'll do 50%. So 0 to 100 random range. So it's going to randomly choose 7 or 20 or 50 or whatever. So you have about a 50% chance at 50. If you do 10, you have a 10% chance. And it basically is going to say, are you going to search for a random point, or are we just going to eat? And so if we're searching for a random point, does this, if we're going to eat, then a quarantine is a wait condition. So this is you have to have this if you want him to wait, and to use this yield return wait for seconds, it has to be a quarantine. And so we tell him to eat, and we throw him into the character condition integer to eat, and then we do a so what happens here is it's a random eat time. I say between 0 to 10 seconds, eat at the most 10 seconds, but between 0 and 10, which probably we should at least eat for 1 Mississippi tuna. Maybe we could do 5 to 20, maybe it would be better. And then there's all these debugging in here so you can see it. And if you want to see this debugging, it's under console, so you can see and you can clear it, and you can see once he gets to this point, it'll say that his point was reached and he's trying to decide. Now you can see here he's also doing obstacle avoidance, and I'll show you that in 1 second. So at this point, where I got was, and that's basically the entire code. As long as he's alive, and then he'll wait a random amount of time, and let me save that. And then as long as he was alive, he's going to search for a new point. If he's being chased, he won't do either of those. And if he's being chased, then what I've done is just chosen a point that is outside the patrol area. So I check the distance from the player, and if we're less than the distance to scare, then, and we're not already fleeing, so fleeing equals false and fleeing equals true, and let's find a point. Now this isn't very good, it just finds a point and starts running to it, so I just increase the character's speed. So I change it to a running condition, which is 3, and then I change his speed to 10. So it's not, I'm just choosing a random point and telling him to run there. There's no figuring out which direction the player's coming and running in the opposite direction, so that's what we need. So I'm going to save this, hopefully this doesn't crash it. And then let's take a look. So if I go to player, and I move, let's see where he is, there, and I move him close, let's actually, by pulling on this, keeps it, and now he's going to run away. Now he can, he's trying to get away. Now, so for example, right there, he couldn't get to some point for some reason. So there's some issues here, and I'm not sure where he's trying to get to, but he's kind of getting stuck. It could also be because I just saved the code. We'll try that one more time. So we'll put this over here. He'll run away. Sometimes he chooses to run away kind of towards you. So, you know, usually he's not this bad, but this last couple times he's being bad about this. Or maybe as I am, I don't know. So, that's player. So this is player. That gets dropped on to here. So that's whatever you drop this on is then now that object. And then the nav mesh, this is a built-in Unity thing. And this is basically giving him some speed and, you know, how fast he can go and stopping and acceleration. In order to create a nav mesh, so what you'll do is you go to Windows and you'll go to Navigation Mesh. And what that is so you choose an object, let's say, for example, if you want, see this blue area is where he can go. These are all the areas that he can go. So if I go into environment terrain, you'll see that whatever you choose, this changes here. So under terrain, it's walkable and it's a static. This off mesh, we don't have to worry about. And it's a static, so it's not going anywhere. It's not moving. So what we do is in order to create this blue, and let me actually show you how to clear this, then we choose that terrain is walkable. Now let's choose something else. Let's say that we don't want him to be able to walk. He can't walk towards or through or over. So we come over here and we tell it that it's static and that it's not walkable. Let's say this cube he can jump over. So it's a static and we're going to choose jump over. These aren't really that important. This once again is just the agent, kind of like what kind of a thing he is. And then we'll go to bake. So in here we'll say his jump distance, let's say, is 10, and his drop height is, like, how far he can drop is 2. Whatever, you know, how far of a slope he can go on, whatever. So we're gonna hit bake. And actually I'm gonna save this just in case. I'm recording this at the same time, so just in case something happens. So you can see that now there's this white area around here. Before it was solid blue. So now, I don't know if I'll be able to corner him to make him jump, but it is a possibility. Yeah, it's hard to get him to go in a direction. And then he somehow gets stuck. He found a flee point, but now he can't get to it, and, you know, whatever. So the random walking's great. So I just, you know, if I work on the train, I think that it'll be better. I'll be able to figure that out more quickly. And then I'll work on the bird AI, which is great, which is terrific. It just takes a long time. Oh, and here, I don't know if you saw over here. So he's currently in an eat state, so that's a condition. Once it goes through the logic, now it's chosen to do 1, and that's that. So here's the condition. So if I hit Control C, Control F, Control V, so you can see the conditions. Condition 3 if he's fleeing, condition 0 if he's eating, condition 1 if he's walking. Now he's in condition 0, so he's just eating. And you can see these as they come through. What else? I think that is it. So if we can just get this deer to, so now he got scared. He actually walked towards it and ran away, and that was okay. If we can just get him to try just a little bit smarter, I don't actually even mind if he runs towards the player. I don't know. It's up to you. If you could spend time just getting this really to work well, and as realistic as possible for a deer, that would be terrific. All right, let's see, anything else? That's it. I will send it over to you. All right, bye.